Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking about the habit of sexual performance. I'm joined by Dustin Wolff, who is the CEO of Launch Medical. He is the co-founder and co-creator of The Rocket. And hey, man, I just want to welcome you on the show today.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, Jesse. I love these opportunities to talk about exactly what we're going to go into, kind of educate the general public on the science and technology behind, what we're doing here and actually what's been around for 2 decades in Europe. And, hardly anybody's even heard of this at this point. So I appreciate you having me on, and I'm ready to go when you are.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about the habit of sexual performance. You've created this product called The Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, can you kind of start me at your story from at the beginning, and we'll kind of lead into where you're at today?
Yeah, as we were talking before, is a lot of what led up to The Rocket is just an entrepreneurial spirit, right? So, I'd love to kind of get the story out there about perseverance. And, over the years, in the last 20 years, I've started and unfortunately, closed probably a dozen businesses over the years, various different industries, but every single time, and using money that I really shouldn't have been spending. I'm talking down to our last $500. And my amazing partner and wife, Stephanie, always supported me. So, but every single time it's important to understand that I learned something, right? I learned something every single time. So it wasn't a failure. It was more of just stepping stones and blocks. And dude, it's hard, dude. When you put all your effort in, and then what little money you have, I'm talking, when I was 25 years old, $500 is a lot of money to a kid. Right. And I had babies, dude. We had 2 babies. We had 2 kids. So $500 was a major investment for us,
Right.
$1,000. And over the years, it got a little more, $5,000, $10,000. But every single time, she had my back. She's like, she may not have understood the business model, but she's like, go for it. I support you. So it's important to understand that having a good partner in that support is a big deal. But I learned something every time, and over the years, the risk got higher and higher, and failed and learned and picked myself up and got back on the horse, right, just like you do. So, which is what eventually led up to us owning the largest sexual performance clinic in North America. What I mean by that is, if you've heard of Gainswave or Lasara, some of these other Boston medical groups, they all do these, shockwave therapy treatments using acoustic wave technology to increase blood flow and enhance, sexual performance, right? It's absolutely real. There's 20 years of clinical studies that back up this technology, and it really does work. So a few years ago, we started our clinic here in Southern California. We're in Studio City, and it's called Novus. And we do a good amount of shockwave therapy. We also do the P-shot and exosomes, and we do hormone balancing, TRT and stuff like that, peptides. But a majority of our business is founded around and based around acoustic wave or shockwave technology. So we do a ton of this stuff. It's we do 25 treatments a day. It's pretty popular.
Wow. That's a lot, man.
Let's put it this way. There are a lot of dicks that come through my clinic every day.
So you still do this every day?
Sure.
As it is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, over the, and I quickly figured out after about 1.5 years of doing this, as you may know, coming into a clinic is, and doing these shockwave treatments can be very expensive. We're talking on average, on a national average, but the full protocol of doing 6 treatments is roughly $3,000, right?
Right.
And then it just goes up from there. If you do 12 treatments and go to $6,000, $10,000, $12,000, you start throwing P shots in there and stuff. That stuff can really, really add up, right? So the reality is for every 100 guys that would call here, maybe 1 or 2 could really afford to come into the clinic even if they lived around, if they lived around here and actually do this type of treatment, right?
Right.
So I got tired of over and over months and years, just, hearing guys get excited about this on the phone, and they call my staff and me, and then as soon as we would tell them how much it would cost or a range of what it was going to cost, we always bring them in for a consultation before we decide on a protocol. But everybody wants to know, how much does this cost? Because of course it's not covered by insurance, right?
Right.
So, and nothing natural is, or anything that works anyway, unless it's a drug. But, and as soon as I tell them, or my staff would tell them, like, you could hear most of these guys, the wind just come out of their sails, right? They really get excited about this type of treatment, and they've done their research and they're educated on it. They understand that, there's no downtime or no side effects, just all positive benefits when you're talking about, increasing your sexual performance using this acoustic or sonic wave technology. So that's what led us to the rocket.
Yeah. So let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
I've done, the Gaines wave treatment.
Yeah.
I first did it like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I actually went to a female doctor, which was like, at first I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I went not necessarily because, I had an issue with ED. I went because it's like, hey, I don't feel quite like I did when I was like 21 or 22.
Well, dude, if you're 30 or 40, the reality is you're not 18 anymore.
Right. And so mine was like, okay, I want to feel kind of like I did when I was like 20, 21, 22. And I really went for performance. And I didn't think it was actually like, is this real or not? And so I went kind of like as this, hey, I'm just going to go check it out and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so I ended up doing the PRP and the Gaines wave. And I think I did 3 treatments over like a 10-day period. And I think back then they were still kind of trying to figure out how many
protocols. Yeah.
Treatments you're supposed to do. But I could tell right away, man, that like it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the real deal. So it's funny, like, like I own 3 of these very expensive medical grade devices, right? And like you would think I would do this stuff every day, which would be overkill, right? Which we'll get into why. Like that'd be like doing chest day every single day. You don't do that, right? You got to give your body time to recover. But going back into the science, and a lot of guys are like skeptical about this kind of stuff because they've never heard of it. They call their doctor, they go in their doctor like, hey, what do you know about low intensity shockwave therapy? And they're asking a general practitioner. The guy's like, what are you talking about? I've never heard of that. The reality is this, guys, and you might have heard Jesse talk about this before, but sonic wave or low intensity shockwave therapy has been around for sexual performance for 2 decades in Europe, right? They do this all over Europe. In fact, it's extremely common. And my prediction is in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see one of these machines in most of the general practitioners' offices around the country. But the science is absolutely proven behind this. And the 2 reasons of what makes it most effective and what it does is, one, as we age, like you just said, I don't feel like I'm 20 years old anymore. Of course, none of us do. We start to build up what's called microplaque in the blood vessels, right, of the penis. So what that means is, I'm not talking about, arteries or, or veins. The blood vessels in the penis are the second smallest in the body, next to the ones behind the eyes. So what happens is those are the ones that tend to go first, like people's eyesight starts to go.
Right.
The blood vessels get clogged up. So imagine like just a clogged pipe, right? Over time, and I don't care, like you obviously you're in great shape. I lift, 5-6 days a week. I eat healthy. It doesn't really, over time, it doesn't really matter. You're going to get this microplaque that builds up in the blood vessels of the penis. And eventually it just slows the blood flow and can even stop the blood flow if you live an unhealthy lifestyle earlier and earlier, in your age. But, I get guys that come in here in great shape. They're 40 years old. They're like, man, it seems like I'm like a 7 out of a 10 and I want to be a 10, and a lot of these guys, they're not, they're not experiencing any major ED issues, but they can just tell, they're 40, 50 years old. They're not like they were when they're 20, 25, 30 years old anymore. So one is the microplaque, that the sound waves safely break up and clear out of the blood vessel, opening that blood vessel up naturally with no side effects. And 2 is it promotes and causes a process called angiogenesis, which is the formation, as you know, of new blood vessels and new tissue. So, forgive me for making this analogy, but a lot of guys understand it as this. I call sonic wave or low intensity shockwave therapy for sexual performance. It's like taking your dick to the gym. Like literally, it's like using it as a muscle, because in a safe, efficacious way, it causes what's called micro trauma. Just like when you're doing heavy bench or heavy curls or heavy squats, anything like that, you're tearing those muscle fibers down in a safe, efficacious way for the purposes of rebuilding new tissue, right? This is the exact same thing, exactly the same thing. These shock waves cause micro trauma, right?
Okay.
That tells the body. So what happens when you get on the floor and you do 100 push-ups, right? When you're finished, like you're swollen like that. Your blood is rushing to your pecs, to your tris, and to your shoulders, because your brain, what you did, you just told your brain to send blood flow to that area because you caused micro trauma. That pump is no accident, right? That your body's really smart. Your brain's like, send blood flow there. You do, 40 sets of curls, right? Dumbbells, easy curl. It doesn't matter. Like, you're going to get blood flow rushing to that area. That's exactly what these sonic waves do. It pushes blood flow to that area, which have growth factors and fibroblasts in your plasma to repair this tissue, clear out any blockages, right? Exactly what this technology does. It's been proven to do it. You guys hear about it all the time now. It's all over the radio. You're starting to see, you can just Google shockwave therapy for performance or blood flow enhancement. And it's starting to get everywhere, which is cool, because guys that may not feel like they're a 10 might resort to, these vasodilators like sildenafil, Cialis, some of these other ones, right? Or they're buying these weird ass rhino pills in gas stations and shit, stuff like that. Like, this makes it so they don't have to do that, right? And again,
the side effects of Cialis, Viagra, these other things are like, dude, you could have heart attack. Like,
dude, some people die. You never hear about it though, but people die from this stuff, Yeah. So and we know those are just Band-Aids, right? It's not fixing the root issue, which is collapsed blood vessels or weak blood vessels, weakening blood vessels, and plaque buildup.
Yeah. So let's talk about kind of specific, like, how is this different than, taking these, so-called sex pills like, Viagra, Cialis.
Sure. Well, this is different.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is different in the way that, so imagine, so I'm 44 years old, and say I've never done any shockwave therapy or anything like that. If you can imagine, like, a blood vessel looks like a pipe. You're staring down the pipe, like a copper pipe or whatever, water pipeline, right? When you're 18, it's really clean, right? As we age, again, no matter how well you eat or how much you exercise, you're going to get microplaque that builds up on the interior walls of these blood vessels. And eventually it's more and more and more and more. What it does is this. It constricts the blood flow, right? And eventually it just stops. It might be when you're 90, but sooner or later it's going to happen to all of us unless we do something about it. So what happens is the drugs dilate the blood vessel and open it up like this temporarily, right?
Okay.
So, but guess what? Guess what's still on the inside of that blood vessel? That plaque's still there. So in 2 hours or 1 hour or 4 hours, whenever those drugs leave the body, you're left with this, right? So what the sound waves do is they come in and it safely penetrates the tissue, getting into and disrupting the blood vessels in a safe way and breaking up that microplaque so it can just get filtered out through the kidneys. That's the difference. These drugs are just Band-Aids, right? They're all temporary. And guess what, guys? I'll tell you right now, eventually, so I own North America's largest male performance clinic, and we've treated thousands and thousands of guys, and every single one of them that takes these type of medications tells me the same thing. Guess what? They stop working eventually.
Yeah, or you got to take more.
Or you got to, and again, even if you take more, eventually it doesn't work.
Yeah, and then you're talking about major side effects on these pills. Dude. Like, what's the side effect of shockwave therapy?
None.
Okay.
Zero. Other than some guys, the older we get, the thinner our skin gets. So, we do a lot of guys that are 50, 60, 70, even a few guys in their 80s. And we can tell that the older they get, the skin is thinner, so they might have some minor bruising, which goes away. It doesn't hurt. The bruises don't hurt, but it might, break a couple of, topical, blood vessels or something like that. But those are it's generally guys beyond 60, 65 years old. So, but it goes away in a couple of days. Other than that, there's literally no side effects. Guys can have sex that night.
Okay. Yeah. So the real root cause of, us, in not increasing our performance, you're saying is this plaque that we build up inside those blood vessels, and they get constricted. And what you're saying is this rocket or shockwave sound, this sound wave therapy actually gets rid of that.
Yes.
For a certain period of time, or
I'm glad you asked. So let's talk about that. Here's what I tell all Rocket customers and all of my patients that come into this clinic. Think about this like going to the dentist, right? So no matter how, I brush my teeth twice a day, I floss once a day, use mouthwash twice a day, I eat pretty clean, but guess what? I still have to go to the dentist so the dentist can clean my teeth, right? No matter what. I don't care how much you brush, you still get plaque buildup on your teeth. And we go to the dentist twice a year, hopefully. They get in there, they got to get behind and scrape real good, right? They get in there and you can feel your teeth, like all of a sudden you feel the back of your teeth again. You're like, whoa, it's been 6 months or a year or whatever, right? This is the same thing. In fact, that plaque that gets on your teeth, guess where else that plaque's going? It's the exact same plaque that's in the blood vessels of the penis, all right? So I tell these guys, I'm like, look, this is something that should become part of your just, male wellness routine, right?
Yeah, say lifestyle.
Lifestyle, man. This should be part of your lifestyle, your enhancement or performance enhancing lifestyle, right? It's like going to the gym, it's eating right, it's drinking a lot of water, it's getting enough sleep, don't abuse drugs, lay off the alcohol, that kind of stuff, right? So to answer your question, to be very specific, this is shockwave or sound wave therapy is something that every guy should be introducing, into their life at some point.
So how often do you recommend, like, what's the protocol to this? I know there's a lot of different stuff out there.
Yeah. So here's
what's the protocol?
Yeah. So the protocol is going to vary from guy to guy. So we have like categories, right? So let's talk about your audience or most of your audience here. Performance, enhancing guys, I call them, or biohackers, whatever you want to call them. They're generally in pretty good shape. They generally eat right. They're always looking to optimize here and there. For you guys that are an 8 or a 9 out of a 10 on an erection score, like, dude, I'm good. Everything's cool. I just want that one, that little 10% left. The standard protocol is 6 treatments, and they're done once to twice per week, right? Yeah. After that, as needed, once a month, twice a month, and that's completely fine. Doing it every day, again, would be ridiculous, because that's like doing heavy bench every day. You would never do that. You got to allow the body time to recover.
Yeah, I did that when I was like 17.
Yeah, we were all dumb kids, right? Of course we did. So I remember too. But yeah, for these guys that are an 8 to 10, 6 treatments, and they're generally, good. And then once a month after that, maybe every 6 months doing another 6 treatments, is perfectly okay. For our guys they get into their 50s, 60s, and 70s, they might be, 30, 40 pounds overweight. They got to clean up their lifestyle a little bit, clean up their diet. They generally need more treatments. But yeah, so, the widely accepted protocol is 6 treatments, and the treatments are done once or twice per week.
Okay. So, and you're saying, normally if somebody went GainsWave,
yeah,
6 treatments, you're looking at like $3,000 or more.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a minute. Now we'll talk about, kind of inform your audience on how the rocket was born, right? So I myself, we used to be a GainsWave provider. We do our own, protocols now, which we think are the best in the country, of course. But we do so much volume here that we've been able to enhance some of these protocols. So if you're talking about in-clinic shockwave treatments like a GainsWave or some of these other guys, the standard protocol 6 treatments, you're looking at $3,000, $3,000. And then, like I just said, once a month, or, doing another sequence of 6 treatments in 6 months, That's another $3,000. It's another $3,000, and it just adds up and adds up and adds up. Look, I'm not rich. I'll tell you right now. I do okay, but listen, $3,000 is a lot of money to me. That's a good chunk of change.
Dude, over a year, that's 12
Yeah,
grand.
dude, you're talking. You do this every quarter. That's $12,000, man. Look, I got kids to feed. We want to go on vacation. It's a lot of money. It literally excludes 98% of the general population. Okay, so now let's back up about 2.5 years ago to how the rocket was born, and I'll tell you. So we created the rocket for 3 reasons. One is to actually 4 reasons. It's an extremely disruptive technology that does the exact same thing as these in-clinic, very $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 medical devices do in clinics like mine all over the country. Okay, reduce the cost. I mean, down to a small fraction of what these in-clinic treatments cost. Number 2, it removes the embarrassment factor, right? Even for guys like you and I that are like, listen, our clinic's in LA, dude. Like every girl here in the city is hot, right? So like all the girls that work in my clinic they're pretty girls, right? So if you imagine like me or you walking in, yeah, my name's Dustin Wolff. I'm here for my shockwave treatment. Like, and there's this pretty girl sitting behind the desk. It's just like, it gets awkward. It can be sort of embarrassing. So the rocket removes the embarrassing factor, because now you can do this exact same treatment in the privacy of your own home whenever you want, right? And then 3 is the proximity, right? So let's say I'm not ashamed or embarrassed. Okay, cool, whatever, man. I got, I make millions and millions of dollars, which I don't. And, but I don't live anywhere near one of these treatment facilities because they're just, they're not everywhere. Let's say I live in whatever, Topeka, Kansas, and there isn't one within 500 miles of me. I'm not going to drive 500 miles away once a week or twice a week to go get this done, right? So proximity. So 1 is we've massively reduced the cost with the rocket, and I'll get into the technology in a minute. 2, we've removed the embarrassment factor because now you can do this exact same thing in the privacy of your own home. And 3, proximity. Like, it doesn't matter where you live now. We could ship this discreetly to your front door in 2 days. So going back 2.5 years ago, I got tired of, these guys that would call the clinic, and like, as soon as I told them how much it cost, like I could hear most of them, in fact, 95, 98% of them, I could hear the wind just come out of their sails because they're all excited to do this and heard about this, and I heard it can make me better, and having like marital issues or whatever. I've heard and seen everything, as you can imagine. And I just got tired of them telling me no, or me saying I'm sorry. Like, there's nothing I can do. I'm just gonna speak from the heart. Like, it really started to like fuck with my head, right?
Right.
So I'm like, this is such you've had it done, I've had it. This is such an easy thing you've seen it, to administer, and it's topical, it's non-invasive, and you actually don't have to have a medical license to administer this. Did you know that you gotta have a medical license to buy the devices? But you don't. I could have a personal trainer administer these in my clinic all day long. I mean, we have certified nurses, but dude, you don't have to have a medical license to actually administer this type of therapy, because it's classified as non-invasive and it's a class 1 device, right? So it's there's no needles or anything like that. It's completely safe. So I sat my wife down and I said, look, we got to do something. There has to be a way to help everybody, right? Affordably. And so the whole idea of the home use device and the rocket was born about 2.5 years ago. Fast forward about 6 months, and I'm a big believer in manifestation, in destiny, in creating your own life and your world. So 6 months later, this guy walks into my office, and he's an inventor, right? He was here to do some hormone optimization, but find out he's an inventor. I get to know him, find out he's an inventor, and I'm like, oh, you're an inventor? He's like, I've spent 30 years developing intellectual property, filing patents. He's brought, products to life, to market, exit plans, stuff like that. Long story short is we bring him in to Launch Medical as a partner, and I fully give him credit. His name's John Hoffman. Like, he literally invented this technology, which I'll tell you about, that does the exact same thing with the exact same energy signature that these very expensive, high-end medical grade devices do all over the world, right? These European devices. And he did it. And we've clinically validated and clinically tested over the last 2 years. 27 prototypes we've gone through, 27.
Wow.
And I will tell you, more than 6 figures of my own money, my family's money, and his money we have in this, right? We're 7 figures into the perfection of this shockwave technology that is now affordable and can be used in the privacy of your own home with no side effects and no downtime. So to dig in a little deeper, as you can imagine, 2.5 years ago, I started making a list of every single guy that called here that couldn't afford this. Because I knew one day I was going to be able to call them. I was going to say, guess what, Tom? Would you like to get shockwave treatments absolutely free? Do you want to be a beta tester for the rocket? What do you think every one of them said?
They're like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. When can I start?
Yeah.
So it's important for your audience to understand that this wasn't a science experiment. We actually went through 2 years of clinical treatments, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sessions through 27 prototypes to what now is the final model of the rocket, which I'll show you in a minute. And each, every single treatment session, the subject, the patient, the beta tester was surveyed, right, every single time along the way. Most of them got anywhere from 6 to 24 treatments, right? And we had them take what's called a SHIM score, right, which is the Sexual Health in Men SHIM, SHIM score, and basically measure the quality of their erections. And over 90% of them, we saw them jump from week to week to week to week to week and rise, right? So we clinically validated this technology, which now has 4 global patents pending all around the world for the technology inside the device. And here we are, man. Like we're in market, we're in production, and we're taking this thing to the world. And we've been all over the Southwest, and we have big interviews scheduled back east, and some major podcasts coming up. But it's the real deal, and it's called the Rocket. And listen, I didn't come from money. Like when I was a kid, I was raised in a trailer park. So, but my parents were, low middle income, blue collar working, but very hardworking parents, and they instilled a lot of hard work ethic in me, and morals and integrity. I would never put a product on the market that wasn't safe and didn't work. I've used this thing more times than I care to admit, because I would never, ever in a million years let somebody put something on their body or in their body that I didn't personally believe in, right? So I'll show it to you now. Let me hold it back. This is what it looks like, okay? And if you know what the machines look like in the clinics, right? Yeah. And probably some of your listeners do. But basically, this tip right here is stainless steel, and it emits the shock wave, the sound wave, which penetrates the tissue, right? Breaking up any blockages in the blood vessels and causing micro trauma to restore and regrow new blood vessels, right? This is what it looks like. So, any questions so far?
Yeah, I mean, as far as that goes,
yeah.
I know the big thing is Gainswave, but like this same method, is this being used now on joints, ligaments, and tendon? Have you tested any of that with kind of this rocket or any of this other stuff?
We've actually done so. You bring up a good point. Absolutely, low intensity shockwave therapy has been used to repair soft tissue damage for actually much longer than it's been used to enhance sexual performance. Actually, almost 40 years, going back 40 years ago, at the very beginning of the shockwave movement, doctors were using it on patients that had plantar fasciitis, as you know, to repair soft tissue damage, and to remove scar tissue, right? So the answer is yes, the rocket puts out the exact same energy signature as these medical grade devices do, which can be used anywhere on the body, right? So in the near future, I would say next year sometime, we're going to come out with a product for soft tissue repair, right? Or plantar fasciitis. We're going to go into medical clinics and things like that. It'll have a different package around this, right? There's protocols built into this, right? Specifically for sexual performance.
Okay.
So when we come out with a clinical device for soft tissue repair, it'll have a different case on it. It'll have different protocols built into it, right? But it's the exact same it'll be the exact same technology that's inside this device.
Okay. So how many protocols are built into that right now?
Right now, it's just one standard protocol. And
Okay.
so it's what it's designed to do. Might be a little hard, but you can go to our website and see more of this. But basically, these are what we call, because it's called a rocket. These are what I call the runway lights. These blue LEDs on the edges, and what this tells the user is how fast or how slow they should be moving the rocket along the tissue, right?
Okay.
From the base to the tip and back, right? And you can see right here. I don't know if you can see it with the light.
Yeah.
It's got a counter right here that tells you exactly how many passes on the quadrant, right, of the shaft you have done and how many you have left. Okay. This light will turn red when you're done, and this light will turn green. It's time to move.
So every treatment you have so many of those things is what you're saying?
That's correct. So the protocol is this. We've built into this. It's 2 times around, and all these instructions are on the website, which we'll get to in a minute. But basically, it's twice around, and the entire thing is 15,000 pulses. So okay. The average shockwave treatment session that we do here is anywhere from 12,000 to 15,000 pulses. So that's how we designed the protocol to be built into this. It gets better. So, and we're very aware and conscious of safety. So I know these biohackers out there, these crazy guys. When I was working on this with our engineering team, I'm like, we have to have a shutoff, a timeout session in here, because otherwise you're going to get these crazy guys that are like, well, more is better, more is better. They're going to do this every day, all day long. So, and for liability reasons, as you can imagine, once you've done one complete treatment cycle of this, it will not turn on again for 36 hours.
Okay.
Okay. And it will actually count how many total pulses you've actually done over the lifetime of the device. Okay. So look, you're going to get these whiz kids that can hack into this thing and try to, make this thing run. Or the simple solution or beyond or around this is just to buy 2 rockets, like whatever. Like we're going to do everything we can to protect the general public from themselves.
Right.
The reality is this: if you use shockwave therapy every single day, there's no benefit to that, right? Because you have to allow your body time.
Yeah, you got to repair.
You got to repair, man.
Right.
So guys out there, don't get crazy and buy 3 or 4 rockets and start using this thing every day, right? So you're not going to see any benefit from that. So one rocket is designed to do one full treatment, shut off for 36 hours, then you can do treatment. And the reality is this the last prototype that we went before we went into production had done 50, 60, 75 treatments. I think we just lost count. Like I was trying to break it and we couldn't break it, right? Which is good news, because let's say you get 50 treatments out of this thing at $500 per treatment. What is that? 25 grand? If you were going into a clinic, $500.
Sure, man. Yeah.
That's $25,000 worth of treatments. If you're going to pay $500 a pop, at a minimum, if you're getting 50 treatments, you can just see the value. So, that's kind of it in a nutshell with this. I mean, there's a lot that's gone into this. We have a wall, a prototype wall of fame of, the very first prototype, which looked like I call Frankenstein. It had like wires. It was like this big, and it had like these crazy like springs and wires and shit coming out of it. And my partner John's like, don't worry about what it looks like. This was 2.5 years ago, So
is this is your final one? Is it only in black, or does it come in white?
This is the final version. It's in black, and I wanted it in black because I think this looks really slick. And
I gotta be honest, it kind of looks like a black dildo, but
it looks like a black. Yeah, do not stick this up your ass, guys.
Yeah.
No. So when you see the design on the website, when you're talking about the technology and what this does, we were working within the constraints of the pared down, skinny down version, right? If I showed you all the prototypes, man, they were like huge, right? They looked nothing like this.
Yeah, that looks like something from like Darth Vader.
Dude, no, I tell people, like, if Apple or Elon Musk built a rocket, like, this is what it would look like,
Yeah. No, it looks amazing. So let me ask you this, like, can only men use this and get the benefit, or can women use that, or do you have something for females similar, or is that something you're working on?
So are you talking about sexual performance?
Yeah, just like I know some doctors have been using the GainsWave on women.
Yeah.
Um, you know.
So the answer is yes, although it's more of a delicate situation. The nerve endings in the female anatomy are a lot more sensitive than guys. So when you're talking about shock waves hitting, the clitoris, like these girls like jump, and it can have the same effect. It will cause microtrauma. It will increase blood flow. And females, when you're increasing blood flow, it increases lubrication. So
Right.
the short answer is yes. I will tell you right now, the rocket was not designed for women. Okay.
Right.
So I've already had a bunch of guys call me like, I'm going to use this on my wife. I'm like, I'm not telling you that that's okay or that you should do that. But
Right.
the short answer is the rocket was not designed for females. Do we have a product for women on the roadmap? Yes, we do. Right. It'll probably be towards the end of this year. But you should also know that this exact same technology in this device and in these other, clinical devices all over the world removes cellulite, which is
Wow.
huge. So before we come out with a sexual performance device for women, we're actually on the roadmap at the end of the year. We're coming out with a cellulite removal device using the exact same technology. It'll be in a different shape, form factor, technology protocols, right? But it'll have the exact same guts in it that does the same thing.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we can't wait. So we're going to start clinical. So our clinic here in Southern California, we also work on a lot of women, weight loss, hormones, stuff like that, PRP, hair restoration. So we have probably 50 women or 100 women that are already like, when can I start? When can I start?
Okay.
So we'll get into that too. It's safe. It does work. I mean, you can't eat like shit and be 300 pounds and expect, great results. But this is for women who have that stubborn, and most women get it. I see amazing women that are in great shape, dude. They're 30, 40, 50 years old. They work out every day. They do everything. Just have that lip, that last, stubborn, just right here on the back of the thighs. They just want to get rid of, So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just perfectly normal.
Sure. So how long does each treatment take?
Each treatment, I've personally timed this, and all my nurses that were doing all the clinical studies with our patients, takes anywhere from 15 to 18 minutes. There's no downtime. You can have sex that night, So I will say this, though, I should throw this out there, that the proper protocol to using the shockwave technology to maximize benefits, the benefit is using a vacuum pump in between treatments. And what I mean by that is the standard vacuum penis pump. And what that does is it obviously pulls blood flow into the shaft to help repair the tissue. And the protocol is this: twice a day for 10 minutes for 6 weeks.
Oh, shit. Okay. So, all right. So let me, I want to back up on this because a lot of guys that I talk to are kind of freaked out when they talk about penis pumps and
it's an exercise, man.
Yeah, but it's so the things that enhance the treatment the most are the penis pump. And do you got, obviously, if these are things you can do at home, so there's that side of it.
Of course.
But a penis pump is basically kind of like doing a bicep curl or doing a tricep extension. It's like, hey, if you wanna build bigger muscles, you got to get more blood flow into that area, and this
100%
pump does the same thing.
It does the same thing. So think about it like this too: if you're causing microtrauma to the tissue, a lot of these guys, they'll jump in the sauna or something like that after the gym, and what that's doing is getting that blood flow going, right? Like I would say, so I have an infrared sauna in my bedroom, right? You can actually, they're very cost effective. A lot of guys, I'm telling you, I got it on Amazon for like $800. The little one person, and it works, man. Like it gets up to 135 degrees. 5 minutes, I'm just pouring sweat, and it sits in the corner, man. It's only like, it's like 6 feet tall. Like it's so easy, and it comes, 4 sides. It's got a base, 4 sides. You put it together in like 30 minutes. Anyway, I do the infrared sauna 4 or 5 days a week, right after the gym, right, just to get the blood flow going. So this is what this does. That's what a penis pump does. Is pulls blood flow in, it dilates the blood vessels, helps clear out any blockages, any plaque blockages. And you're feeding the tissue that rich oxygenated blood, which carries your plasma, which has your growth factors and fibroblasts in it. Those are the amino acids and all that, your own stem cells that get in there and they help start repairing the tissue.
So you do this penis pump like every day? It's like part of your workout?
No. I do it once a week now. Just being candid here. Every Sunday is kind of like I call it, you see it on Instagram, whatever, self-care Sunday. So every Sunday I still do the penis pump once for 10 minutes, just one time. But if I'm going through a 6 treatment protocol, which I do once or twice a year, I will absolutely use it as much as I possibly can. Stick to the protocol of twice a day for 10 minutes for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Now, it's damn near impossible to get all that in, but if you can hit 80% of that.
So what have you seen for results for yourself, like doing that?
The penis pump or the
Well,
shot?
obviously like the 6 week, the rocket for 6 weeks and the penis pump with that for 6 weeks, because I'm guessing you've probably done both without the penis pump and with the penis pump.
I've done both. Here's what I'll tell you. The proven protocol that's been undeniably successful over the last 20 years involves the pump. So, if guys are scared, I will tell you, you'll still get benefit, assuming that you're in generally good health. You'll still get benefit from the rocket, or if you go in and do these in-clinic treatments without doing the pump. But you should actually be doing the pump in between treatments to enhance the results. I would say, if I had to put a number on it, Jesse, it would probably be, this is pretty big, like 30% more, 30% better results if you follow the pump protocol. And guys are cheap; they're like $30. There's very expensive pumps that cost hundreds of dollars, but you guys can pick up a pump on Amazon or even on our site for like $28.
Okay. Is there a pump that you recommend over another, or?
No, not really. We sell one. We have one manufactured for us. We sell it in conjunction with just the only thing I would say is get one with a gauge on it, right? A PSI gauge. And guys, remember this. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing. So don't go over 10 PSI on the gauge. That's more than enough. In fact, it can start to get uncomfortable. All you need to do is, between 5 and 10 PSI on the pump. And some guys don't even need that. Like 3 PSI is plenty. You know what I mean? But, what I've seen in the last 4 years I've been doing this is guys that come through here, and I tell them, I make them sign waivers and everything, for everything. And we coach them and do consultations. Some guys are just like, they're crazy, and they'll pump for like up to like 20 PSI for like an hour. And that can actually not only be uncomfortable, you can cause damage, right? So just take it easy. Start with 5 PSI twice a day for 10 minutes if you're going through these shockwave treatments.
Okay. And then as far as PRP,
yeah.
Do you do that with this, like yourself, or I know you're at the clinic, so like it's a little bit different, but like, do you recommend that for people?
Absolutely. So if I'm the average guy, you've probably talked about this on your show before, doing the platelet-rich plasma, or what's otherwise known as the P shot. God, we do probably 2 to 4 P shots every day, like boom, 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 boom. There's no side effects. It's your own plasma. It's your own body. It's your own growth factors, right? I absolutely recommend it. Like if you can get a P shot done once a year, do it, because it totally enhances everything. It just helps the healing process, helps enhance the growth of blood vessels, sensitivity, right? So as we age, we start to lose a little sensitivity down there. It brings back the sensitivity along with the shockwave. But I'll tell you how we do it in the clinic, and I've heard of like other clinics do it differently. We always wait till the very last treatment to do the P shot. Okay, so think about it like this. The shock waves get in there and they prep that tissue. It's turning that tissue. It's like a farmer plowing his fields, right? He's turning that soil over so he can go out there and plant seeds to grow big, tall crops, right? So I've heard of some doctors doing the P shot in the beginning, which makes no sense to me. Why would you throw growth factors on this tissue that hasn't been prepped yet? whatever. Anyway, the way we do it is we do shockwave, 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 either a series of 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever the guy needs or wants. And then we do the P-shot, boom, on the very last day, right after the shockwave treatment. So what you guys can do is, if you're doing this in the clinic, talk to your provider or your clinician about it, but that's how we do it. Or if you buy the rocket, you could do, 6 treatments and then boom, go in and do the P-shot, generally right after. But here's what I'll say. Don't ever let a provider do a P-shot without having a shockwave treatment done right before the P-shot. I have a lot of guys that call me and they're like, yeah, I did the P-shot. It didn't really work that well. And I go, did the doctor and the nurse, did they do a shockwave treatment right before the P-shot? Like that day, within minutes? And they go, what's that? Okay, that's why. So again, for you guys out there, whether you come see me or you go to, Gaines Wave or these other guys, you buy the rocket or whatever, don't ever do a P-shot without doing a shockwave treatment right before it.
Right, okay.
Because think about it, we're causing localized and controlled inflammation, therapeutic inflammation, acute inflammation on purpose, right? It's like a laser-guided missile. You want that PRP, right, to be as effective as possible. So what the shock waves do is it tells the body to do what? Push blood flow to that area, right? You're signaling the body to push plasma down there.
Okay.
That's where you want it to stay.
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So give me the cost. We didn't cover that, but what's the cost of the rocket?
Let's talk about that. So the rocket right now is selling for $749, and then plus shipping is $20, and you can buy the pump on our website as well. And I mean, we have thousands of orders coming in from all over the world. We ship in every country, but the reality is, when you look at $749, you're like, but that's 1.5, shockwave treatments in a clinic, right? So
yeah, for sure.
To me, it's a steal. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's just a steal. We've made it affordable for virtually everybody. And like I said, I mean, we've gone through 50, 60, 75 treatments without even breaking one of these, the last prototype. Anyway.
So how many treatments do you get out of each one?
I don't even know yet. Like dozens and dozens. This last prototype you see right here, the one that's in production, I haven't been able to break it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the way that I read something, I thought it said you got 10 treatments. I don't know where that was, but
yeah. No, just for clarification, this thing doesn't. We're not like Apple where we break your phone on purpose, so you have to buy a new one.
Or like, the new charger.
There's no, 2 years ago we sat down when we were designing the electronics and the protocols. It did come up in discussion. Do we have a sunsetter mode, which just basically this thing shuts off after 10, 20, 30, 40 treatments? To me, it's kind of bullshit. What I'll tell you is over time, just like anything else, even your car, it will wear out. I mean, you're talking about an immense amount of pressure creating a shock wave over and over and over and over again for potentially hundreds of treatments. At some point, the actual shock wave is going to diminish. I don't know what that point is yet, but on our website, I think it says something like we guarantee effectiveness up to 24 treatments and beyond. Like,
okay,
put a dollar value on that.
Let's be honest. Like, you could pay $12K for a year's worth of treatments from Gaines Wave, or you could pay $749 plus shipping, penis pump. You're at $800.
$800 for this, and you can do this in the privacy of your own home. No embarrassment. Shows up in an unmarked box. No one even needs to know. You do it whenever you want, just with a 36-hour break.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about kind of the mindset that goes with this. Is like, I think you're dealing with two different types of people. You have people who want to increase sexual performance, and then you have people that have, ED and things like that. And those are kind of two different categories you're in.
Sure.
Where, a lot of the listeners that I have, they're looking to really optimize sexual performance. It's not that there's an issue, but like I said, it kind of just for myself is like, hey, I noticed that it wasn't quite feeling like it did when I was in my 20s.
Sure.
I wanted to increase my performance. I did it, and it worked. But what about the other side for guys who kind of do have, they're in that 50, 55, 60 and up range? What are the results for these guys?
It's the same thing. They just need more treatments.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
It's the exact same protocol. It's the exact same shockwave. They just need more treatments, so instead of doing 3 to 6, they'll do 6 to 12,
okay.
and it might take them a little longer to start seeing results. Guys like you and most of your listeners, they could start seeing results after just one treatment.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, and again, though, because guys that are experiencing ED issues, they just have more plaque built up, and it just takes more time. You know what I mean? That's all. And they tend to be a little old, older. I don't want to say older, they're not old, but if you're 50, 60, 65 years old, of course, your body takes a little longer to heal, right? So it just takes more treatments and more time. That's all. It's the exact same protocol.
Okay. And my guess is someone who might come in, maybe overweight, bad diet, they're going to be in that category of taking a little bit more.
Yes, of course.
To happen.
So they're going to take more. It's going to take those guys even more treatments. And look, I mean, the reality is you and I know, and all your listeners know that, I mean, if you have lifestyle issues that are seriously affecting the quality of your erections, like you got to make a choice here, man. Like what's it going to be? Is it going to be your sex life, or, is it going to be like living a sedentary lifestyle, eating whatever you think you want, not having to exercise, smoking, like all these things really do affect how you perform in the bedroom. So
right.
I tell guys all the time, look, dude, here's the reality of this. Like, if you're 100 pounds overweight, you've been smoking for 20 years, you're diabetic, and you have high blood pressure, do me a favor, don't buy the rocket, dude. Take that money and go get a gym membership and clean up your lifestyle, because you're not going to be around to even enjoy your dick unless you clean your shit up. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you might have to pull it back to even see what's going on.
Yeah, dude. Like, go do that first and then buy the rocket. Again, going back to what this is, if you have major lifestyle or health issues, the rocket will have some effect, but nowhere near as well the benefits as if you take care of yourself.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about, like, one of the big things that I see is, middle-aged men, their performance in the bedroom starts to go down, their confidence goes down.
Yeah.
And that affects, things like their business, their relationship with their wife. Like, I think for the most part, guys want to know they can please their wives, and part of that is, hey, I want to know I can get an erection and, like, keep it.
Of course. So let's talk about this for a minute. The psychology behind what's ingrained in our DNA, right? So as what you just mentioned, if a guy, and I see this every day, man. Like, I get 25 patients that come in here every single day that either I, have met with and consulted with, or my staff has. And I would say 3/4 of these guys are dealing with erectile dysfunction. The other, quarter are like performance guys or whatever, or they're just, curious. But the reality is this: if you're not performing in the bedroom the way that you want to perform, and you're not pleasing your partner the way you want to please your partner, or they want to be pleased, it's going to mess with your head. Your confidence is going to go in the shitter. It affects your business. It affects your relationships. It affects the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, the way you look, everything, right? So, that's literally like in our DNA. Like, there's nothing you can do, to really ever shake that. So when that happens, guys start getting what's called performance anxiety. We all know what this is, right?
Right.
You start, having issues with your erections, and it will get into your head. And then a couple things happen, right? Your partner automatically will assume that you're not attracted to them, you don't love them, or you're cheating on them, or you're thinking about someone else, right? All these things happen, and it's not their fault, but that really kind of fucks things up. And they'll bring their wives in here and their girlfriends or their partners, and and I'll look at them and I'll be like, don't shame him, right? He wants to please you as much as you want to be pleased.
Right.
You shaming him makes this worse, 100 times worse. And then it takes them longer to shake it. So eventually they will shake it off, but it can take a long time. Then they'll even avoid sex, right? Which it just makes everything worse. So I'll look right at their partner. I'll be like, do not shame him. I appreciate why you're here to support him, but be supportive, right? Don't take this personally, because he wants to perform as badly as you want him to. So just help him and understand. So yes, shockwave therapy will help increase the performance of your erections, your bedroom performance, your sexual performance, which will increase a guy's confidence.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I think this is something the guys don't talk about
No.
at all. And it's kind of one of those, it's just one of those things that you don't talk about, you don't hear about. And so I think it even kind of shames guys even more, is because it's like, now I can't please my spouse, I can't please my partner. And so it's like, well, why even have sex, or why even try? And then the wife's kind of like, well, I'm not getting what I want. And then that starts like the disconnection.
Yeah. And listen, a lot of what we do here is, definitely affects, emotions and relationships. But if two people, and I say this all the time, every day, if a couple, or even two singles that are dating, whatever, if they're not connecting on that intimate level, which most of the time includes, having sex, they lose that connection, like you just said, right?
Right.
So there's just something about human beings connecting on that type of level that forms a bond in a relationship, right? So it's extremely important, and there are very few marriages that, unless they just can't stand each other, then they got other problems. But there are very few marriages and couples that I talk to that are in a healthy relationship that would say that sex is not important, right? So it's very important to them, right? For most couples. So
there's no one, and I'd say they're full of shit if they said that.
Exactly. So I'm trying to leave the one or two couples out that are like, whatever, don't enjoy sex.
Yeah, they're not listening to the show anyways.
The reality is, for me, you, and all your listeners, like, it's extremely, extremely important. Like, if I could have sex every single day, hell yes, I would. So It's just one of those things. Again, like that's what forms and keeps that bond between you and your partner.
Yeah. Again, that might not be good for you though, right? Because too much
can be too much.
Yeah. So, well, hey man, how can the listeners find out about the rocket, and like where can they go to get one?
So, I definitely want them to check out getmyrocket.com/Jesse, right? You can go to that, and what will happen is there's a ton of information on there. We have our medical director is Dr. Paul Thompson. He runs a very successful male performance clinic in Dallas-Fort Worth area. He's been doing Shockwave for probably 10 years, and he does a lot of it now because in the last 5 years, it's got really popular. He does a lot of TRT and stuff like that too, but the guy is extremely knowledgeable. He has some videos up on our website, which you can see. And again, it goes over the science. At the bottom of the website, you'll see the clinical studies that have been done, on shockwave therapy over the last 20 years, but you can go to getmyrocket.com/Jesse to check everything out. There's also a phone number on the website you can call, if you do have any questions, but I feel like we've done a really good job of educating people on the website, so they can check it out there.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, I want to thank you once again for being on here. I'm actually looking forward to getting one of these.
Yep.
And testing it out.
Yeah, the good news is anybody, we come on shows like this, we always send you guys a rocket so that, you can test it out yourself.
Yeah, well, I want to do a follow-up just to
100%.
Let's see what happens. So
yeah, and again, guys, once you do, a lot of guys are gonna be like, I just still don't understand like how to use this thing. When you purchase the rocket, there's a membership area that we give you access to. And as you can imagine, we don't put this on the front of the website, but there's literally demonstration videos, not on a live person, of course, but demonstration videos to show you exactly how to use the rocket.
Yeah, I think it's on a banana, right? Or
that's the PG version.
Okay.
But on the after you purchase it, you have access to the membership area where you can actually see. We literally, it's just a fucking dildo, you know what I mean? But at least it shows like a
right.
That we show you exactly how to use it.
Yeah. So one more time.
Yeah.
What is, I don't know if we covered this, but like, what is the pain tolerance on this? And then is there a cream that you put on?
Yeah. Good question. So actually, before I answer that, the energy signature, the shock wave is always transferred better and amplified through the tissue by using a light coat of a lubricant. It can be KY. It's some water-based lubricant. It can be KY jelly. We also provide our customers with our own rocket lube. It's the same stuff, but we just make it convenient. It shows up in the package. So that a light, and this is again on the demo video. So just a light coat of that. Plus, it helps the tip of the rocket slide along the tissue. Getting into the pain tolerance, every guy kind of has a different sensitivity level, right? So Like I know, like, I got guys that come in here that do clinical shockwave treatments using the medical grade devices with no numbing cream. They don't like it. They don't want it. And their pain tolerance is, I don't want to say it's painful, but it doesn't bother them. And then I have other guys that come in here where like they're really sensitive, and they're like, I have to have the numbing cream. You know, what I will tell you about this is the Rocket is, you'll see on the website, a lot of guys are probably thinking, well, how did you calibrate it? We literally calibrated the Rocket energy signature and developed it to mimic the exact same energy signature as these expensive medical grade devices do. There's a video on the website using what's called a force plate side by side, showing the exact same shockwave coming out of both devices. Okay. For your audience that hasn't done an in-clinic shockwave treatment, the bar setting, which is the power setting on the clinical grade devices, is anywhere, the protocol shows between 2.6 and 3.4, right? The higher you get, the more powerful the shockwave and the more it hurts. That doesn't mean you need that. You know, again, guys, more is not always better.
It doesn't mean it's better.
It doesn't mean it's better. So what we did was we calibrated the Rocket to be right in the middle, right? So right now, the setting on the Rocket is between 2.8 and 3.0 bar, right? Which is about the average setting, right? For most guys. It's what I would consider maybe slightly uncomfortable, but it's not painful. You definitely feel the shockwave going through the tissue, but it's not like, oh my God, I can't take it. Maybe I'm a bad candidate, but I don't use numbing cream. And I can get through, you know, a treatment. It's not a big deal. A lot of guys that have done the Rocket treatments over the last 2 years don't need the numbing cream. Some do. So the answer is yes, we provide topical lidocaine numbing cream. But the reality is, if you can do without it, do without it. You know what I mean? Some guys are just going to be more sensitive. So again, it's to each individual. If you got to use numbing cream, dude, no harm in that, man. You put it on, you got to let it set in for like 20 minutes, right? But most guys won't need it, I don't think.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, I want to thank you for being on here.
Yeah, man.
If you guys are looking to increase your performance in the bedroom, add confidence and all those things, like check this out, because I spent easily $6,000 in treatments and probably only got about a year. I think I used about a year's worth out of that, but just the fact that this is in a price point that you could literally use this for 2 to 3 years. And, you know, that's amazing, man. So, and I want to congratulate you on the things that you're doing, because
thank you.
The fact that you've taken something that, you know, was costing $50,000-$60,000 just to buy, and you've put it into a product and made it accessible for people, and to be able to do it in the safety of their own home. Hey, man, that's awesome. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're getting a lot of attention on it. We're actually interviewed by Forbes magazine, and they called us $1 billion disruptive technology, and we're pretty proud of that. So more than anything, you know, I get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing guys be happy and have, you know, happy marriages and you know, stand up straight and their chest is pumped out and they're, you know what I mean? They feel good about themselves. And this is just something that I think eventually will become just part of male performance enhancement, just, you know, good men's health. It's like brushing your teeth, you know? So, but thanks for having me on, man. Yeah, you guys can go check it out. Go to getmyrocket.com/Jesse, and you'll be able to, we're actually, the full retail price, honestly, is $14.95. We're probably going to raise that at the end of this month.
Okay.
So, if you guys are going to check it out and you want to try it, try to go. You're getting a 50% discount if you buy it between now and the end of the month.
Yeah, that's amazing. So if you guys are listening to this, make sure you go to that site. It's going to be in the show notes.
Yeah.
And you get one of these because you heard it first, that it's going to be going up in price.
Mm.
And that won't be the only thing going up.
Like a rocket.
All right. So if you guys are looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where I'll be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. If you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle, check out habitbasedlifestyle.com or reach out to me, Jesse, at habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.